Fantastic. That's what we want. To be able to fish positive again. Well, good morning everybody. It's a little bit milder today. It's 12 degrees. We've had a few days of sunshine, so we're hoping the fish are going to be waking up. Now this is the fourth round of the Southfield Spring League. Now I'll openly tell you that the venue hasn't been fishing like it normally does at this time of year. It's been fishing incredibly hard, and at the time of recording this is the fourth round. The first round I had to miss because it clashed with the Golden Rod final, so I missed that. Round 2 I never had a bite, and round 3 I never had a bite. So my league isn't going to plan, and you know, it's such a shame because there have been lots and lots of blanks. A month ago the venue was fishing much better, but for some reason over the last month or so it's just dropped off. It's gone really hard. And having said that, 3 days ago there was an open match here and the weights were picking up. There were signs that the fish were starting to move around. So I'm here today to fish round 4. My league is over, I've got to be honest about that. That's it, done. So I can just fish the rest of the series as open matches. And with the Feeder King competition not far away, I thought I'd decide to film this match for you, because I know there's lots of you that will be coming here for Feeder Masters qualifiers, for Feeder King qualifiers, and it'll give you a taster for how it is fishing right now. Regardless of whether I even get a bite, I am going to upload this video for you because I will be able to show you what has been caught and where, and you'll get a feel for what I've done, which might help you make a better decision about how you're going to tackle it when you come. Alright, whether it works or not. So we're just about to draw. We're drawing at 8:30 in the King's Chamber. There are about 60 anglers in this league. It's very popular. It's probably going to be a 2-line approach, I think, but I'll tell you more about that when I've actually drawn my peg. So I'm going to draw a peg. I don't know where I want to go. Weight wise, the woods has been a little bit better, but it's been completely random. So at this stage I haven't got a clue where I actually want to be. Peg one. It's gonna be, innit? It's gonna be. Oh! Ooh, 3, go on.
Well done, Jamie. Well done, Jamie.
3. It's a long time since I've been over there. I'm actually in the woods. I think the last time I was over in the woods is when the bream were there, when I had a couple of really big weights, but they're not there at the moment. So I'm just going to get Dad, get to the van, and it's going to be a barrow job, and different scenery for you anyway. I'm going to be sat in the water over there, but if that wind's coming in, there is a chance of a few bites. Driving down the lane, we can see the wind direction for the first time. It looks like it might be blowing into me over on peg 3, possibly from the left and in, I think, which is normally what I would normally prefer over there, but I'll find out once I get over there, because sometimes it can be a bit deceiving. When I get the barrow loaded up, it's going to take me a few minutes to get over there, and I'll check in with you when I'm at my peg. It's like going down memory lane being back here today. It's quite a few years since I've been over here. For long-term viewers to the channel may remember seeing me pegged over here. Certainly 2 of the videos when I was pegged over here, I had big weights. I think one of them was about, I don't know what it was, 70 pound maybe. I think that was 1 or 2 pegs to the right. I think I had 111 off one of these pegs. Can't remember if it was this one or the next one, can't quite remember, but it's very different now. It's very different. In recent years, this used to be where a lot of the fish used to come, the bream, at spawning time basically, which is obviously this time of year and going forward through the next 3 or 4 weeks. However, they haven't really been caught in as many numbers as in previous years. So if you have watched those films, I'm sure this is going to be a very, very different film. So anyway, there we go, there's the peg. So I'm all set up now. Let me get down here That wind keeps getting slightly stronger. I am down in the water, but I haven't gone right out there. You know, I'd rather not sit in waders and all that sort of stuff if I can get away with it. So I could have sat somewhere there, but you know, I just can't see much point. And because I'm sat back a little bit, well, I'm not really sat back, but this this tree here, this big branch, that's going to hold a lot of that wind off me as well. Now, one of the things that I do want to point out to you is you're going to see a couple of things now that you haven't seen before. One of them is, since I drew over here before, they have actually changed the rules on where you cast. Now, the reason why they've done that is because if you're down there on peg 10, which is going down towards the split in between the two reservoirs, they have now made it so that you actually cast to your left. Now, they've done that so that if you are down on peg 10, you're not just casting towards dead water to, you know, up that bank. You know, they've done it so that you can actually cast out into the open water. So everybody casts at an angle to your left. Simple as that. So that's the first thing that you're going to see. So because of that, rather than see me cast straight and forward there like you would have done before, I'm actually casting more to the left there. Vinny's on the next peg, he's on peg 2. He's going to cast to the left, and then peg 1 is just looking right out into the reservoir anyway. So that's the first thing that you'll notice. And the other one that some of you may have noticed already is that for the first time in 9 years of producing YouTube videos, this is probably the first time you've ever seen me with my rod to the right. Now, I used to fish like that a lot when I was a kid, you know, particularly if the wind was bad. If the wind was coming this way, then I would sit with my back to the wind. And to be honest, we ought to do that a little more often, particularly when the weather's bad. However, I'm going to be fishing with my rod to the right today. And the simple reason for that is so that I've got a better angle on my tip when I'm casting there. I could have positioned my box a little bit further over here and had my rod here, but then as you can see, my line would have been interfering with all those bushes and twigs there. We've got the toe on it as well. It just wouldn't have been right. So I'm fishing with the rod to the right today, which just means I'm going to have a nice angle in the tip. Right, I'm going to quickly show you the rods, then I'll quickly explain to you how I'm going to tackle it. I'm out in the water. I've obviously got a roost there. I've got an 11-foot slim set up there. That is clipped up. That is braid. It has got a very, very short shock leader on there. Free running rig, and then I've got two Horizon Pro Distance 12-foot rods set up, both 90-gram rated rods. One's got a 2.5 ounce tip in it, and the other one has got a 3 ounce tip in it. It's just because I'm expecting that toe increasing, which it can do on this shallow reservoirs. And those are both coupled with 4000 HX Pro reels with braid, but they have got up and down leaders. So those leaders are 5 meters long. And I've got them clipped up. I've told you that the reservoir's fishing very, very difficult. We are initially fishing for a bite. I haven't had a bite yet in this series. Well, in the last 2 matches. It's really dark when I sit that way, isn't it? That's better. I haven't had a bite, you know, and speaking to everyone here, you know, we are fishing for a bite. We don't know if there's going to be many fish out there or not. So there's no point in me sitting on my box, pondering forever about what lines to fish. I'm going to fish 2 lines. I'm fishing 30 metres and 50 metres. Done. That is it. So the slim, the shorter rod, as you'd expect, is clipped up at 30, and the other 2 are clipped up at 50 metres. And that is it. It's all about natural baits. So I've just, same route as last time. I've got some F1 green, Sonobreaks F1 green in there. I'm just sorting my tray out now. I've got some casters that I'm going to be feeding on both lines. I've got some fluoro pinkies. I've got some red maggots. And then, as you'd expect, I've got worms. That's actually half a kilo that I've grabbed this morning. Nice and fresh. And that is it. That's what I'm sticking with. I've got selection feeders there that I'll be constantly changing. And that's it. Now, just to quickly outline the rules. This is, there are rules here where it's got to be a 50 centimetre hook length, or minimum of 50 centimetre hook length. We can't introduce pellets, and there's no hair rigging or anything like that. So it's very much traditional style feeder fishing rules. And that's it. We're going to be fishing 11:15 until 4. Now, the downside is that I'm not going to have much of an idea of what's getting caught. If I was over there on the east bank, you know, I would be able to see what's being caught. I'm not going to get that today. I'm not complaining because, I mean, come on, let's be honest. That is literally just like pleasure fishing. We've got Roger, who's through there on peg 1. On peg 2, we've got Vinny. And on my right, we've got match organiser, Mick Axon, who he's doing his sticks at the moment, so I definitely won't talk to him while he's doing that because he's counting. Even though he's over counted anyway. So yeah, that's what it's going to be. So I'm going to start long, feed the short line, like I say, and just ease our way into it. You know, we don't know what to expect. You know, and if there are more fish there than what we are
expecting, then we can obviously feed accordingly. You know, we can step up the feed. That's how I've fished on here before. Fish for a bite initially, get a feel for how many's out there, and just feed to your bites. Before I talk you through the approach, I'm just going to show you peg one. There it is, because it is very, very different from all the other pegs. As you can see, there's the canal. There's the big body of the reservoir. As you can see on peg one, you've got loads and loads of options there. You know, it's not a peg I've ever drawn. As you can see, this is where it actually goes into the canal. So where those stones are, it's literally about, I don't know, a foot, 2 feet deep, something like that maximum. And that's where this reservoir feeds the canal. So when the actual lock gates and the level of the canal drops, that's when it takes water out of the reservoir and vice versa. So that is what this reservoir here is for. It's purely to top up the actual canal system. So I just thought I'd show you that, just so you can see what peg one's like. It's very, very much hit and miss, I'll be honest with you. You know, it can be very, very good. There's Vinny. He's not hit and miss. You caught us well last week, didn't you, mate? Well done, mate, well done. So that's peg two, that's Vinny. But peg one can be very hit and miss. It can either win or it doesn't do anything. I'm going to kick off on one of our nice new finesse feeder hooks, size 14. I'm going to kick off with probably two dead reds, something like that. And just set off on possibly 10-minute casts. I'm not going to start off too aggressive. I think there are going to be some fish caught over here. You know, I mean, look at the wind on it. You know, we are expecting it being towing. I think there are going to be some fish caught here. But like I say, even if I win the section today, it's probably not going to be enough anyway, because I've got 2 5 points up to now. So I'm just going to fish and enjoy it. You know, I hope there's a few fish here and fish it as a match outright. There are 60 anglers here. So that's it. I'm going to get some worms chopped up, and I'll check in with you at the start of the match when I'll show you how I'm going to set up my 2 lines. Good luck, lads. Tricky casting into that wind, I've got to be honest with you. It's coming round and in. It's coming round. That's just caught Mickey out to the next peg as well. Mickey Axon, he's just commented on that. You can see it's actually coming round from the left and in, but where we are, there isn't any wind, so the feeder gets out for about 15 meters before it even affects the feeder, and that's when it catches it. But because we're casting so far, it's done it again on mixed cast, so that's already causing 1 or 2 issues here. I'll try and make sure every cast counts now. If I punch it, I have to hit my clip there and then move my rod over, I think. Yeah, it's a little bit unorthodox fishing today, but that's what happens. We've got a bit of chop worm in there, a few casters. Maybe take a few casts to get used to that. As long as I can punch it into that wind and then hit the clip over to my left, it should mean I've got a decent angle. It means I'm going to hit my clip properly, but it means I'm going to get a decent angle on the tip once I'm actually fishing. I'm going to put one more in on this line. Yeah, it might be really tricky, this one. The problem is you can't punch it too far to the left because of all the trees here. You know, you just can't, because I'm already in line with the trees. That's gone where I wanted it. So, just going to put a couple in on my 30 metre line, and then we're away. That wind's tricky, Mick, isn't it? Yeah. So, make sure that braid's wet. Just put one in with just ground bait to start with, just to make sure that this is going to go where I want it again. I mean, this is only 11-foot rod, this one, this is a slim. But 30 metres, that's obviously easier as you'd expect. Put the same in on that one, a few casters, Bit of chopped worm. You're going to get a bit of a bow in it anyway, but I'm expecting it to be towing. I did have a bomb on earlier. One of the things that lots of people ask me about is, you know, how do you select the right tip for the job? I know we talked about it a lot. All I did was, while I was setting up, I just put a bomb on and put it out there to where I was fishing, and that just let me know whether the tip was right or not for the tow, and thankfully it was. There we go. So I'll put a couple more of those in actually, because I don't expect to be on this line just yet, but I don't want to be. It's one of those funny situations this, where yeah, you're fishing for a bite, but I honestly think that sometimes if you're too negative, you're not going to get a visit, if that makes sense. On the last 2 matches I have been super negative, but I haven't been incredibly patient, if that makes sense. So I've been super negative with what I've actually fed. So there's quite a bit of bait in that, this one. Yeah, I've been super negative in what I've actually fed, but I haven't really been leaving it in long. You know, there were people around me, certainly last week I could see them, they were leaving it 15-20 minutes, you know, which is, I don't want to fish like that. Obviously sometimes you've got to do that, but in previous springtime leagues that I've fished on here, when I've done well, it's been when the fish have been moving around a little bit more and you've been able to trigger bites, you know, you've been able to do things that have kind of made a bite happen, if that makes sense. And that's why I love fishing this league, when it's like that. But it just hasn't been like that. You know, it's been really, well, very much winter fishing, you know, leaving it in up to 20 minutes, and I don't want to do that today, but I will do. Yeah, I'm going to have to really focus on every single cast today, just to get everyone where I want it. So that's that. Well, I'm happy with where they've gone anyway, so that's good. That helps the confidence anyway. So I'm just going to start long now, get a hook length on, and I'll just settle in and have that first 10-minute cast. Pop that down there, might as well leave that feeder on when I'm topping that line up. So I'm going to scale that feeder down a little bit now. So the next, I mean, that's the feeder I'm using, that's the, as you can see, I'm changing from that one. If I've got one ready, should have, got one there that's still 30 gram, but it's actually smaller, as you can see. So I'm just going to clip that on, just because it's what I'm confident in now. You know, I've got 2 good feederfuls of bait out there that's gone out there. And I'm just going to get a hook length on here. Let's go with, we said a 14, didn't we? There we go. 14. That's the finesse feeder. And like I said to you earlier, I can't see anyone around me, so we might get to hear if anything can caught. That wind looks like it's going to be changing, you know, 1 minute's gusting, then it's easing off, but I'm just going to try and make sure that I try and make every cast count. I have to push it really hard, or harder than normal anyway. That's it. So I'll get the tip, and hopefully by the time I get that round over here, we're going to get a nice angle in that tip. Set that stopwatch. Just about got that right there. Possibly a bit more luck than judgment, to be fair. Not having my tip too close to the water just because of the waves. And that is it. I'm settling to a 10-minute cast now. The bites on here are normally really good anyway, if you're going to get any. You know, they're normally really positive. It's only shallow. It's only probably 3 or 4 feet deep out there. We are going to get some tow on it, but that's the 2.5 ounce tip, that one, which looks to be about right. And I've got a stronger tip on the other rod if I need it, which might come into play if that wind gets any stronger. We are 45 minutes in. I haven't had any indications yet, no signs at all. The 2 lads to my left, Vinny and Roger on peg 1, I've heard they haven't caught. Mick on my right hasn't caught yet. But there have been 2 single fish caught a little bit further down to the right. I'm not sure what peg numbers. They're going down that way. 2 single fish, one's a hybrid by the sounds of it. I'm not sure what the other fish is. Someone on peg 9's caught a fish as well. So there have been a couple of fish caught. We didn't expect it being a, you know, a quick start or an early start anyway. Even when it fishes well here, you know, that first hour can be very, very slow, even if you go on to catch a bigger weight later on. So we're not surprised. I'm still out at 50 metres. I'm just about to top up that 30 metre line. I haven't been on it yet, but you know, I just don't feel it's right to go on it just yet. I just want to give it a little bit longer out there. The tow keeps changing, to be fair. The wind's dropped slightly at the moment. We've got a few boaters and yachters out there, and yeah, I mean, you can see how the tip's bent round now anyway, but it does keep dropping the wind and the tow. So just trying to make sure that I hit the line clip on every cast. That's the main thing. On you know, on windy days like this, everybody's going to have one or two bad casts. You know, you're just going to, because that wind's gusting. But at least if you can make sure you're hitting your clip, then at least you're maintaining accuracy through distance, if that makes sense. Even if your direction's off a little bit, at least you're on that same line because you've hit your clip. So that's my main focus at the minute, but it has dropped a little bit now, which is making it easier. So no need to change anything. I am feeding every cast. I don't want to be too negative, because I'm sure we're going to get a visit at some stage, you know, even if it's only by a couple of fish. So it's just gone half 11. So I'll be topping that 30 metre line up shortly, but I'm going to stick out there for about at least another 15-20 minutes. This has been out there 12 minutes. I just had a fast knock. Obviously with so much tow on, the tip's bent round anyway, but I had to pick up on it. I was just considering having a look on that 30 metre line. I have just fed it, topped it up. Like I say, I've left this out there 12 minutes, just had a fast knock, and we've hooked one. The wind's dropped a little bit now, as you can probably tell. The wind's dropped a bit now. I think I've just heard that, I'm sure Roger on peg one's either had a fish or has it had a bite. Other than that, we haven't heard about anything else. Mick on my right's not caught yet, and Vinny on my left, I don't think he's caught yet. There's still plenty of time yet. That's a good fish as well. Got him. Hey! My league's started, Mick. My league's started. Yeah, I've got a fish. It's a nice one, mate. Be a good 3. There we go, as you can see, he's hooked the bottom of the mouth, bottom lip. It's a good stamp fish anyway, isn't it? There you go, mate. Well, I've got to have another cast out there, haven't I? So there we go. So it's, time is it? 20 past 12. So obviously I've got to have another look out there. I've only just fed the 30 metre line, so I've only just topped that up, so I can forget about that for a bit. Obviously got to get back out there now. One thing I am doing today is, like I say, you know, as far as I'm concerned, my league is finished. One thing I am going to do that I'm done in previous matches is keep quite a positive approach. I've still only got a little feeder on, as you can see. There's quite a lot of worm and caster in there. That's my thinking anyway. That's just something I'm confident in. That wind's dropped a little bit now. It's casting a bit easier, or casting accurately easier. I hit my clip just there. By the time I get my rod over here, should just be in the right position. The wind's really eased off a bit now. Well, that's it. That feels much better. At least we're off the mark anyway. Yep. And it was a good stamp fish. It's 12:30. That wind's really dropped, as you can see now. Completely different, isn't it? Whether that's going to make any difference or not, who knows, but I always feel better and more confident on here when there is a wind blowing. I just think because it's so shallow, it just gives them a bit of cover, but that's not always the case, you know. It's just a confidence thing for me. I haven't had any more signs. Obviously I've got that one fish, decent fish. Roger on peg one's got a fish. It sounds like Vinny might have just netted one as well. Yeah, Vinny's just this minute netted one. I can't show you because it's through the trees. What is it, Vinny? 2 pounder? How big? Lovely. Nice one, mate. So Vinny's just got one, I've got one. Mick on my right's not caught yet. And then we haven't heard any more from down there. Possibly there's just 2 single fish down at that far end going down towards peg 9, 10. We've heard the best, we think, is on the canal bank where the footbridge is that I walked over this morning, where it goes into the canal just there. So we think someone's got 3 bream there. That's a different section from where I am, but I'm not really thinking too much about the sections. I'm just trying to catch it and get as many bites as I possibly can, and just focus on getting the next bite, the next fish. You know, that's all we can do the way it's fishing. So it's 12:30. You know, there's loads of time yet. I still haven't been on that 30-metre line, but I'm going to have a couple more casts on this out at 50 metres. I haven't looked at all on that 30-metre line. Keep topping it up every 20 minutes or so. I'll just put one in on it. But I'm going to have a couple more casts on this at 50 metres, and then I'm going to think about it. Assuming I don't get any more signs on this, I'm going to have a look on that short line. And that's all I can really do, you know, and from there I'll take it from there, whether just be rotating lines, you know, set one line up, feed it, rest it, and that sort of thing, going through that latter period, and hopefully we'll get a bit more information about what's been caught around us. 2 hour stage, it's 1:45. That wind is still dropped now. Don't know if that's going to come back or not to how it was, but it's certainly making the accuracy of casting a lot easier. I haven't had any more signs. Roger, we think Roger's got, I don't know if he's got 2 fish. I don't know if they're 2 big bream, but he's definitely got 1 bream and possibly 1 smaller fish. Vinny on my left's got 1 a bream. I've got 1. Mick Axon has just had his first bite and his first fish. Good sized fish as well, big fish. As soon as his feeder hit the bottom, he was tightening up, really quick bite. Next one along I don't think's caught, but then we just heard, we think peg 6. Peg 6 has got 3 fish, and we think that's 2 bream and a hybrid. So there are obviously fish throughout the length. You know, obviously not many fish feeding at the moment, but it sounds like nearly everybody's caught at this stage after 2 hours. So it's always going to be very, very close. It's a difficult one, you know, because usually when I fish on here at this time of year, and quite often in summer, there are things that you can do to try and trigger a bite. You know, you might have, you know, a couple of quick casts and then sit on a third cast and leave it longer, or you can put a couple of quick feeder falls in and then feed it and then cast over the top and catch one, or you can, you know, feed a line and rest it and rotate lines and that sort of thing. But it's just not happening at the moment. You know, it's just the way that the res is fishing, I think, or I certainly can't make any of those things work at the moment. It just does seem very much just random bites, which makes it very, very fair. Makes it very, very fair for everyone, you know, but you know, you don't feel as though you're making bites happen, or you know, you're triggering anything. And you know, I don't really like it when it's like that, you know, because you've just kind of got to just hope you're going to get a bite. We don't want to be in that boat, do we? So we're 2 hours in and I'm just rotating lines really. I've been on that 30-metre line, I haven't had any signs whatsoever. I didn't spend too long on it, I only had 2 casts on it, and I put a bit more feed in and then went back out to 50 metres, which is where I am now. There's quite a bit of tow on it now, as you can see. That's a 2.5 ounce tip that you can see bending that round. So there's still quite a bit of tow, even though that wind's dropped, because obviously it takes a while for that tow to slow down, but I think that wind is forecast to come back again. So I'm just rotating lines, that's all I'm doing. I keep trying to, you know, a little bit of a period of activity, trying to trigger a bite, but I just can't say that, you know, that's working at the moment. So that's all I'm going to do. You know, there's still plenty of time left yet. Just rotating lines, being really, really nice and patient. And it looks like, if you are going to get a bite, it looks like the majority of the fish that have been caught have been good sized bream. So you might not need many bites to get, you know, a decent weight. So that's where I am at now. I'm just rotating lines and being really, really patient on each cast. Well, I keep having a look on this 30-metre line, but I haven't had a sign on it. It's one that I'm just obviously going to keep feeding. That bait's intact. I've been quite positive with the feed on it. You know, I've kept bait going in all the time. I really need to at least keep the line alive, just in case, you know. And plus, it gives me somewhere to go when I'm resting my my longer line. Just set that stopwatch. So whilst I've got to openly admit my main confidence is actually coming from the longer line. That's where I honestly feel my next fish is going to come from if I'm going to get one. I've got to keep this alive because it's just somewhere to fish while I'm resting my longer line. But like I said, because it's fishing like it is, I could quite easily, you know, get a fish there or a run of fish. You never know. So keeping it alive. I haven't had any signs on this. I'm just going to have one more 10-minute cast on this. It's gone 1 o'clock now. I'll have one more 10-minute cast on this, and if I don't get anything or any signs, I'm going to go back long. Just coming up to 1:30, and I haven't had any more indications. A bit frustrating really, to be honest, because I keep resting my lines just like you would do normally, and when you go back on it, you know, you're hoping for some sort of an indication or a sign when it's been rested, and there's just nothing. There's just no pattern whatsoever. Really frustrating when it fishes like this. Roger on peg 1, he's got 4 fish now on peg 1. Peg 2 is Vinny, he's got 2 fish. I've just got that 1 bream. Mick next to me's just got that 1 bream, the only bite he's had. Next one along, I think he hasn't caught yet. But then we've just heard that I think it's peg 6 has got 4 fish, and then I think someone to his right's got 2. So it's still very, very close in this section, but you know, when you can't feel as though you can make a bite happen, it's a little bit, you know, you're just kind of hoping to get a bite. I don't like it when it's like that. I'm going through the full range of hook baits, as you can imagine, with the pinkies, the maggots, the worms. Keep trying to cast in a pinky and all that sort of stuff. But you know, I haven't had any signs whatsoever. But one thing I'm not going to do, and that's ease off on the feed. I just don't think that's going to be the way to go. I don't really want to cut back on the feed and fish for one more fish. You know, because I think, well, already Roger's got 4. The lad down there on peg, I think it might be 6, he's got 4. We're going to need more than 1 fish already, so I don't want to be negative with the food. So I'm just going to keep that bait going in. Keep that worm and caster and a few pinkies going in on both lines. Stay nice and positive with a nice bright or a bigger hook bait. It's 2 o'clock, we've got 2 hours left. I haven't had any more indications whatsoever. I've literally just made the decision to feed my 30-metre line much heavier. There's 2 hours left, you know, and I honestly feel as though I'm going nowhere at the minute. I'm not getting any visits, not getting any signs or anything like that. Ironically, Mick on my right has just cast out and he's just hooked another fish, and as he's done that, the lad on peg 5, I think it is, I think that's Mike, he's just had his first bite of the day. So they've both just cast in, and both of them have just both hooked a bream and just both caught a bream. Unbelievable how many times that happens on here, you know, where you get 2 consecutive pegs suddenly catch at the same time. It's happened way too many times for it to be coincidence. So, well, thankfully Mike's got a fish now anyway. Mick's now got 2. I'm still on 1. Vinny's got 2. And last we heard is Roger on peg 1. He's still got 4 as far as we know. So I'm back out long at 50 metres. And like I say, I've pushed that 30-metre line just as a throwaway line, really. I haven't got much confidence in that line, I'll be absolutely honest. But at the minute, you know, I mean, Roger's got 4, so I'm 3 bream behind that already with 2 hours to go. I'm not in tune with the place. You know, I haven't been coming much, and not like the lads around me. And I just don't really know how much really I should be feeding and what I can get away with. Under normal circumstances, when we've been over here before, you've been able to feed, you know, because you know there were fish out there, so you could, you know, you wasn't scared of feeding. But I've done it anyway on that 30-metre line. So I'm going to give that, you know, 20 minutes, half an hour, just stay positive on it, keep dropping on it, and hope that, you know, if I am going to get a visit on that line, that, you know, the fish might be there long enough for me to catch, you know, have a little run of fish. But at the minute, I'm just looking for another bite, but there isn't any pattern whatsoever. Like I said, Mick's just had that bite out the blue, so has Mike, the next one down, so it just seems random fish through here again. And I feel really confident that if I just sit and leave it 15 minutes, 20 minutes each cast, I'm sure I'm going to get another fish. I'm sure I am, but another fish isn't going to be enough. You know, I need 3 or 4 fish, so that's why I'm going to feed. I'm going to keep that feed going in and hopefully get a visit on either of my 2 lines. Well, this is my first cast on my 30-metre line, and it's only been out there 90 seconds. and I thought it was just the wind tying her up to the tip with the tow. As you can imagine, it's towing quite a lot, but it kept on going, and I've hooked another fish. Now I'm hoping that the fact that this was first cast on that line, that's going to highlight a bit of a pattern or something that I can try and replicate rather than just bites out of the blue. But it's 2:15, so there's still plenty of time. I should watch it because the angle I'm casting at, I'll make sure it's not going to kite round in front of that tree. I'm trying to keep the rod up. It's a good fish. There's a big fish, that one. There we go, we found the second, and hopefully the way that I've caught that is going to mean something, and that it's not just a random. That's a big fish as well. It's a good fish. 4 pounder that one. Just found one, Mick. Yeah. Or it found me. Let's get that in and get back out there. You all, Vinny? Yeah, mate, yeah, that's 2 now. So I'm hoping what I have got to do now is, because that's on that line, if I manage to create that by feeding all that bait what I put in, then obviously I'm hoping that there's more than one there. Could be a chance of a run. So obviously that means that I need to get back out there quickly, because that might just be a very, very small window of opportunity. It might not be, it might just be a solitary fish. Wouldn't surprise me with the way it's fishing. Let me just get back out there just in case there's another one there. It certainly helps the confidence, especially with it being first cast on that line. Get that rod over. Just get that bow out. Stopwatch. I've gone back out just after that bream. It's been out there just under 4 minutes, and I didn't expect that. Ouch, the hook's come out. I've got him a hook. There we go. Didn't expect that. And I've hooked another bream. It's a proper fish as well. Really positive pull. Fishing a free running rig, so you expect the bites to be good, but there's that much tow on it as well. But it is known for, on this venue, for the bites being positive. Yeah, this feels like it's another big fish, this one. Staying positive with that feed, like I said to you earlier, you know, I felt if I just sat, especially on that long line, 15-20 minutes on each cast, that I'd get another one. But I need more than that to stand any sort of a chance of winning this section. I'm just hoping that these are going to respond to this food now, so it can be more positive and put some weight in the net. Fantastic, that's what we want, to be able to fish positive again. Similar size to the first one. Let's get that. Disgorge a job on that one. I don't want to risk damaging the hook or the fish's mouth. Get him in, and hopefully there's more there now. I feel super confident, I've got to admit. But if I can get away with feeding, just switch feeder again then. Just switch down to that style. So it's going to empty much quicker. It's only shallow water where I'm fishing. I feel so much more confident when I can feed. And that was going to be even better. So I'm still keeping plenty of worms going in. I'm going to have to do another chop actually. Let's get this back out there. That wind's dropped again. Make sure this is a 30 gram feeder now. I've had to go from a 20 to a 30. That's how tricky it was to hit my clip just there. It's bang on. Get that tip down, set the stopwatch. That feels so much more just much more positive when you can feed. I was just about to pour a cup of coffee and that nearly pulled the rod in. Well, heading into that last hour now. It's 3 o'clock, just coming up to 3 o'clock. I honestly feel as though the only place I'm going to get any sort of numbers of fish, if I am going to get numbers of fish, you know, if I'm going to catch another couple, I think it's going to be that 30 metre line. So this is my second. There we go. I've had to do another chopper worm. As you can see, there's not much left there now. So I kept that going in. And you know, experience on lots of venues, but certainly this one, that last hour can definitely be the best time. So because we've already caught overfeed early on, well, not early on, but not in the last hour, then I'm quite confident that we might get another visit to come back over it. Like I say, I'm literally only going to give it about 10 minutes, 15 tops, but obviously that depends what happens on this, because you know, if I go back on this, because this line's had a rest now, the 50 metre line, there's every chance I could pick a fish up on this, but obviously I can't really make decisions about that until I've gone back on it and seen what response we get. So I'll get this back out to where am I? I'll just pick up my 4-back marker there. Back out to 50 metres. There we go. Get that right in, and that's it. So I'm going to give this a minimum, well, 10 minutes at least. It might be 15 depending on how I feel when that time comes. Just set that stopwatch. It would be great to get a fish on this. You know, it has had a rest, quite a long rest to be honest, and so there's every chance I could pick up a fish. It is just gone 10 past 3 and I've just had my first cast back on my short line, and I've got to admit I was going to retrieve it, because after about 3 minutes I had a really tiny flicker, just like there was one of those bleak there, just rattling the bait, and I was thinking about bringing it in. I thought I'd take the chance and leave it out there just for that first cast, because sometimes on that first cast you don't want to, you know, if there's any fish there feeding, you don't want to disturb them, and if I'd suddenly had a quick cast and then cast again, you might miss the opportunity of getting any fish that will settle there, you know. So I left it, and it's another big bream. There you go. This will make it, that's it. Fantastic. That's number 4. A very good stamp fish, aren't we? There we go, look at that. What a stamp, absolutely brilliant. I'm not going to hang about too long with him, so I'm going to get back out there to see if there's another one, because last time we had 2, didn't we? We had one after 90 seconds and then had another one after, what was it, 6 minutes. So it gives me 4 fish now, 4 bream, 4, I don't know, 13, 14 pound maybe. I don't know if Roger's catching any more. I don't, you know, last we heard Roger had got 4 bream. That was a long time ago. That's round on peg 1. I haven't heard that Vinny's caught any more, so I could be very close to winning the section now if Roger hasn't caught any more. And obviously if he has got 4, it depends on the size. If there's another fish there, that's it. Get that round. It's gone round again. Just over 4 minutes that time. It just feels, everything just feels nice now. You know, the time of day, the wind's dropped a little bit. So just like before on this visit, we've had 2 bites. There's 40 minutes left now. It would be great to have a good finish now. Not hearing anything about what's happening now, everyone's quiet. I don't know if Roger's had any more. He had 4, but that was hours ago now, so I find it hard to believe that he's not caught since. Just going to watch that braid with them trees. It's come up all that way out there now. Quite a lot of rocks here. That's another bream. This is much better, isn't it? But we said, you know, we expected a slow start. Great to see these fish responding to some bait. Wow, that's number 5. Just look at the stamp as well. It's a fantastic stamp, isn't it? Let's get him in the net. Don't hang about. Disgorge her out. Get him in. Let's get back out there. Plenty of time for another. Brilliant bite time as well, isn't it? When you're getting them in like 4 minutes, it's much better than waiting 12 minutes. Not that we should be too picky about getting any bites at this. You know, the way that it's been, you'd be happy waiting 30 minutes or an hour. Gotta keep that bait going in. Like I say, it's not a really big feeder anyway, so I can't put loads of bait in, but I don't want to put loads of bait in. I'm literally fishing for one at a time. Don't know how many fish are there, you see, but I want to keep enough bait going in to keep them there. Stopwatch. So that was on 4 minutes. I'm gonna have to do another chop as well, which I hate doing at this time, but that's the 3rd chop that I'm doing. Just been priming it in the bait box, ready for the next cast. Well, I'm still at 30 metres and I had a pecker bite, as they say, bit of a rattle, and I had to bring it in after 4 minutes, which I really wasn't happy about. So there's obviously small fish out there, so I've just gone back out there, and again it's just on 4 minutes it's gone round it again. Just on a bit of a dilemma now going into this final 30 minutes now, because I was just considering, was I going to set this line up again? Obviously there's only 30 minutes left, so I could feed this line again just like I did before, like I've done twice before, and then give it 10 or 15 minute rest while I fish my long line at 50 metres, or should I stay on this line? And I was just about to make, well, trying to make that decision when this bite's just come. So I think at the moment I've got to stay on it, and I think if I feel as though, you know, it needs a rest or whatever, I'm just going to leave it in longer, because I just don't think that there's enough time properly, possibly to set up for another fish. You know, if I feed it now and then go back long for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then come back for another visit, that might be enough for another fish or 2. But I don't want to sound funny or greedy, but there might be more fish available than that if I stay on it. I don't know if that makes sense, because if I come off it now, I'm going to leave myself a window of catching 1 or possibly 2 in the last 15 minutes or so. Get out now, go on it, off you go. But if I stay on it for 30 minutes and there are more fish there, then there might be a chance of 3 or 4, who knows. It's the perfect time of day, the wind's coming in, they've responded to the bait going in, so everything to me is saying stay on it, but just don't chase it. You know, don't give it 5-6 minutes each cast and then come back out again. You know, be willing to leave it 10 minutes, even longer. Above everything else, obviously I've got to keep that bait going in. I want to keep them there if they are there in numbers, but if they are going to feed in numbers, when you look at the conditions, in my opinion, this is the perfect time for them to appear in numbers if they're going to. Make sure each cast's alright. Just got to watch that. So I've got to get it so close to that tree. Puts me on 6 now. 30 minutes to go. 20 minutes left. I've got 6. I've just heard that Roger on peg 1
He's just netted another one, and I've been told he's got 7 now. I don't know what size they are. I've no idea, but he's got 7 fish now. I think Vinny's still on 2, Mick's still on 2, and I've heard someone down on peg 8 or 9 has had about 7 or 8 fish. That's a different section from me down there, you know. But like I say, I'm just fishing my own match. It would be nice to win the section. It sounds like Roger is the one to beat. So currently, I think I'll be second in the section at the moment. But again, it's down to size of fish. The stamp of my fish have been good, but obviously Roger's may have been as well. I don't know. So there's 20 minutes left. I'm obviously hoping to be nice to get another couple of fish, just to finish on a high. But whatever happens, you know, it's the second half has been far better than the first half, and it's great to see a few fish feeding all the way through. You know, you don't want to go seeing people blanking, do you? So there's definitely signs that the reservoir's starting to wake up. Shallots. Well, certainly better than the previous 2 rounds, that's for sure. That wind's dropped again now, hasn't it? Well, I think the first thing is that, you know, getting that first fish was mega. You know, that was the main thing, obviously, just to avoid the blank and get a little bit of confidence back in this venue. That was really nice to get that first one, and then that middle bit, you know, that middle spell where it's turned around. You know, I've had those 2 visits on that 30-metre line where I've had 2 bream on that first visit. Then after the rest, I've had 3 bream, which has just obviously been mega. So they're the 5 extra fish to go with the 1 bream. So that was mega, you know. And you know, I wish I'd done that slightly differently now. I wish I'd been a little bit more positive earlier on that line. And then I've just got to say that last 30 minutes was a mega disappointment. I know I don't want to be greedy, you know. Obviously, I've had 6 fish in, you know, in a hard area on a hard day, and you know, but you're always looking to look for your extra fish or 2, aren't you? And I really thought that I was going to get at least 1 more in that last 30 minutes. I'm amazed now, I'll be absolutely honest. Maybe it's me being too optimistic, or I've got too much faith in the venue producing, but I'm amazed I didn't get another one in that last 30 minutes. So I think I did that wrong, but at that stage I felt there was more fish available than that. But there we go, they're the decisions that you make. So the last we heard, Roger was on 7 bream on peg 1. He obviously had 4 early on, so it was always going to be hard to catch him, but it's down to the size. I've finished up with 6. I've got a hand size skimmer and a couple of bleak. But yes, I've enjoyed fishing it. I've enjoyed being able to feed. I've enjoyed being able to rotate lines and get a response. So I'm going to get some gear packed away. I don't think it'll be long before the scales come down, and whatever happens, you know, I will give you the result from this, but I'll give you the result about the overall result, so you can see how the main body, well, the other lake really has fished down that east bank, because we are expecting some slightly better weights from down there. So yeah, I'm going to get some gear packed away, and it'll be interesting to see what these 6 bream are going to weigh. Stamp on it. Thank you. Thanks. Well, I thought they were going to weigh all right. I wasn't really clicking the weight or anything like that, but the 6 bream have gone 20 pound, 12 ounce, I think it is. Yeah, I am. I'm really pleased with a lot of today. That last half hour, I think, was the wrong decision. Roger has had 2 in the last 30 minutes. So I know he'd got 7 with 30 minutes to go, just under, and then he's had an 8th fish. And I can't remember what he's weighed. I don't know if he's weighed 22 pound, I think, to win the section. So that's put me, I'm second in this section, which, you know, I'm pleased about. But I really think, you know, the section win was definitely there with a couple more decisions. Really pleased about the middle bit, about pushing that middle line. I think that was definitely the way to go. And yeah, it's just nice to get a few fish and have a day's fishing. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been great to be back over here, but more importantly, it's, for me personally, and for some of you, I think it's great to see some fish finally feeding. You know, they are waking up. We're able to feed some bait. But yeah, it's been nice to be back over in these woods.